Whittward Carver, the saucy sleuths at supper. In the heart of Paris, on a day when the Seine was as moody as a teenager in love, Inspector Jules Maigret found himself with an unusual craving. It wasn't the typical French fare that had his mouth watering, but rather the thought of the good hearty fricandeau à l'oseille, and who better to share it with than his old friend, Hercule Poirot. Maigret, with his pipe firmly clenched between his teeth, sauntered into the bustling restaurant Le Cochon Pendu. Poirot, ever the dapper Belgian, was already seated, his moustache waxed to perfection, and his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Ah, mon ami Maigret," Poirot exclaimed, rising to greet him. "I see you have developed a taste for the finer things in life," Maigret grunted, settling into his chair. "Poirot, you know as well as I do that good food is the key to a happy life. And speaking of keys, have you heard the latest about our American friend, Aloysius Pendergast?" Poirot's eyebrows shot up. Pendergast? That enigmatic FBI agent with a penchant for the dramatic and a name like a cryptic crossword clue. Isn't he the one who makes Sherlock Holmes look like a bumbling amateur? "Indeed," Maigret replied, his eyes twinkling. "But his methods, they're unorthodox, like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle by setting it on fire." Poirot chuckled. "Well, they say he's so good at his job. Even his coffee knows who did it before he does. But I heard he's got a dark side. Rumour has it, he once interrogated a donut just to watch it crumble." Maigret laughed, nearly choking on his wine. "But seriously, his cases, they're like a labyrinth designed by M.C. Escher after a few too many absinthes." Poirot nodded. "I heard about that one case, the museum heist. He solved it by analysing the dust particles on a single paint flake. The thief was so impressed he turned himself in just for an autograph. The fricandeau à l'oseille arrived, steaming and fragrant. Poirot took a bite, his eyes closing in appreciation. Magnifique! But back to Pendergast. I heard he once solved a murder on a cruise ship by deducing the killer from the way the victim's cabin was decorated." Poirot smiled mysteriously. "Ah, but you know Pendergast. He has a way of seeing things others do not. Rather like myself. None." Maigret rolled his eyes but couldn't help a small smile. "Well, I heard he once tracked down a serial killer by analysing the patterns in the killer's choice of victims. Turns out they were all connected to an obscure 19th century poet." Poirot nodded, impressed. "Ah, the intricacies of the human mind. It is a labyrinth, is it not?" As they continued their meal, the stories grew more outlandish. Poirot recounted a tale of Pendergast solving a case involving a cursed mummy, while Maigret countered with a story about a missing violin that was found in the most unexpected place. Maigret shook his head, smiling. "And what about the time he solved a murder by listening to the victim's parrot recite Shakespeare? The bird was so traumatized, it demanded counseling and a lifetime supply of crackers." Poirot laughed. "That's nothing. I heard he once solved a case by staring at a wall for 3 days straight. Turns out the wall was so bored it confessed to everything." Maigret chuckled. "But you know, despite all his eccentricities, Pendergast gets results. It's like he's playing chess while the rest of us are still trying to figure out how to set up the board." By the time dessert arrived, a decadent tarte tatin, both detectives were laughing heartily, their bellies full and their minds buzzing with the absurd and the extraordinary. "You know, Poirot," Maigret said, wiping a tear from his eye, "sometimes I think Pendergast's stories are too good to be true." Poirot raised his glass. "Ah, but that is the beauty of it, mon ami. Truth is often stranger than fiction, and in our line of work, the stranger, the better." And with that, they clinked glasses, toasting to the mysteries of life, the absurdities of crime, and the endless entertainment provided by their enigmatic American colleague, Aloysius Pendergast.